Hello and welcome to another video. This is Maruna's manga channel and today we are going to be storyboarding the last section of the manga I am working on. For those of you who are new, this channel is about me, an amateur, trying to make my own manga from scratch. And I am recording all the process in hopes that I can inspire other people who, like me, were on the fence about starting their own manga or comic for a long time. If you are interested, please check out my previous videos where I explore my plot, theme, and characters. I am so excited that we are finally finishing the storyboard section. It has been so long, but to all of those who have stuck it out so far, I hope you enjoy this last section of my storyboards. So in the last video, the story ended with Harper facing off Stella, who has manifested her stress monster completely now, and she almost burnt her workplace to the ground. And in this climax scene, Harper and Lucas needs to defeat this monster. However, Harper is hesitant to do that because she knows that if they kill this monster, Stella won't be able to feel her emotions anymore. Okay, let's get started.
Okay, so page 1. The last panel that we ended on was a close-up of Harper when Stella asked her if she knew that the monster came from her. We're going to start off with Harper responding to Stella. I might make this first panel of Harper just clenching her fist, so just showing the tension of the scene. And her line would be something like, "I'm sorry." And on the next panel, maybe a close-up of Harper's face. Her line being, "I had suspicions, but you weren't showing the usual signs of a person who created a monster, so she wasn't sure." And then the third panel would be of Stella. And okay, so Stella wants Harper to kill this monster. It's okay. And in the next panel, Stella asking her, can she kill the monster? I want to give it a relatively big panel here because Harper doesn't want this to happen, so it's sort of a big deal. So probably straight on to Stella's face. The monster would probably be in front of her, blurred out like it's defocused, just to give the panel a bit of depth. With Stella's line, "Can you kill it?" And the last panel, I want to sort of make it a bit wider. I'm going to make it into a bit of a Dutch tilt shot. So this is Harper with her back to us, and Stella, who is still sitting down, and the monster in between them. Well, technically, sorry, the monster is actually sort of just next to her, standing beside her. Yeah, so something like that. Harper is talking here. Maybe just exclamation marks to sort of show us that she is shocked by that ask from Stella. Okay, so that is page 1. Page 2, Harper responding to Stella from the previous page. She basically is trying to talk her away from the idea of killing this monster. Maybe a mid shot on Harper being like, "You don't want that." To which Stella, she starts to get frustrated. She's not in a state that she can think straight at the moment. So rather than going to Stella on the next panel, because I want there to be a bigger panel of Stella on the rest of the page, I might just do Harper again, who is reacting to Stella yelling at her. She doesn't know what she wants. I think I want to add a panel of Stella's, maybe just even her mouth shouting. She is in a state of extreme anguish at the moment, so I haven't decided what her dialogue is through here. Probably something like, "You don't know anything about me," whatever. I'll think about the dialogue more later, but just harsh words needs to be said here because it needs to trigger the monster to start attacking Harper. In this big panel, I want to put Stella is like screaming, curled up in a little ball, and then the monster is sort of stepping in front of her. The monster is trying to protect Stella, so it's going to try to attack Harper. So the monster is sort of stepping forward. Like it has to just look threatening. Like at the moment, she's essentially having something a bit similar to a panic attack, I guess. So that's page 2. Page 3, Lucas is going to step in. In the previous pages, Harper sort of was like, I need to go and talk to Stella alone. So she sort of like just asked Lucas to like stay put, but he was a bit suspicious of her. So he just basically followed her. And the conversation that needs to happen between Lucas and Harper here is that she doesn't want to kill this monster for Stella. But then Lucas is like, no, this monster has caused too much damage, almost burned a building down, sort of did. It's a bit exposition-y maybe for them to have this talk right now, but they need to decide what to do. Dialogue-wise, that is what's happening. So that is, Stella is basically on this side of the page, and Lucas is just stepping up behind Harper, saying, so it was her after all. And on his shoulder is Poppy, his spider. And he's saying something like, where's your sword? Yeah, basically he's like, why aren't you ready to fight? Like, we need to fight this thing now. This will be another over the shoulder. And Harper is telling him, no, we don't have to kill it yet. It hasn't killed anyone. So that's a bit of an exposition for the story that the Ord, which is the foundation that they work for, their rule to kill a monster is that once the monster kills a human, they have to kill it. That's basically the steadfast rule. To that, Lucas is going to be like, what the? So a bit of a close-up on him, and I want to make this a bit of a diagonal panel because he's a bit like ticked off that she said that. And his line would be like, are you serious? And I want to end this page on a profile between the two. And Lucas is basically telling her that it was only luck that didn't kill anyone, because if that building that the monster burned actually collapsed, it would have killed hundreds of people. So he's just telling it to her straight. So that will be page 3. Page 4. Okay, we're going to start the action sequence here. And Harper is still hesitant because she really doesn't want this to happen. So instead, Lucas is going to fight the monster with Poppy. Narratively, why I really just wanted to add a scene of Lucas fighting against the monster instead of Harper is that I needed the monster to be doing something while Harper is going to try to convince Stella out of this one more time. Another close-up of Harper, who is still just hesitant about doing this. So she's like, but we shouldn't. Lucas is now being like, oh, whatever, I'm gonna do it. Okay, so technically it's not Lucas who's going to do the fighting, but it's going to be his monster, Poppy. So this panel is of him just replying to Harper that, fine, I'll do it. And then he's reaching out to grab Poppy, who is just on his shoulder. Okay, so in this panel, it's just basically of Lucas holding up Poppy, telling her, let's do this. And then I would like to add in a small panel of Poppy starting to glow, and then a big panel of her increasing in size to fight against the monster. And Lucas is standing next to her in that panel. So that is page 4. Okay, page 5, we're going to start off with a big panel, a big dramatic panel of the wolf and the spider tackling each other. Man, this is going to be such a hard sequence for me to draw when I'm not good at drawing animals. Oh well, I will. That is a future Maruna's problem. And I just have to find a lot of good references to help me through this section. But yeah, so the two of them just crashing into each other. And then I want to add just 2 close-ups of either like the wolf biting one of Poppy's legs, and maybe a close-up of Poppy trying to set free from that. Yeah, no, I don't want to do too many panels of these two fighting each other because that just seems too hard for me. I mean, they'll sort of be fighting in the background, but these 3 panels are going to be the main panels. I want to add a panel of Harper, who is observing this happening. She can narrate for a split second. So she's like looking up at the fight. And she's basically thinking Poppy is really disadvantaged in this fight because Poppy is essentially not that good at fighting. She's really like good at more stealthy things because she's a spider. But compared to fighting against a wolf, she isn't actually that versed in physical combat. So basically Harper is reflecting that thought, being like, Poppy can't win. And I also want to add another exposition here. This is basically Harper thinking. I'm gonna put an image of Lucas and also of Stella. Basically, the more the monsters get hurt and the more they expand their energy, the damage sort of comes back to the humans. Not physical damage, it's more just like emotional damage. So it just really, really stresses like the mind out. So I just want Harper to be sort of explaining that in a few dialogue boxes. Maybe even, yeah, no, it just has to be it's almost like a bit of a diagram. Okay, so that is page 5. Okay, so in page 6, just because we just had that explanation of the more the monsters get hurt, it really like hurts the human. I want to sort of jump back to Stella, who is feeling the brunt of that pain right now. So she's still on the ground, probably holding her heart. Her chest. You can probably see the wolf's leg or something like defocus in the foreground. And then I would like to show a close-up of her, what she's feeling. And she's honestly just feeling crap and like she's feeling confused. Yeah, because basically she's having a panic attack. So dialogue is sort of just like attacking around her. She's probably like what's happening? This hurts so much. It's like, why am I doing this? It's like, did I really hurt so many people? Like, so she's also feeling really guilty about what just happened with the building as well. She is in a lot of emotional stress. The thing that needs to happen next, because of the two monsters colliding with each other, it's sort of ripping open the entrance of the Chaos Realm. So in the ground, I just want to show like, it's like starting to split open. Okay, so visually it's a bit confusing because we don't know what's happening, but Harper is going to explain it in the next page. So yeah. Okay, so that is page 6. Okay, so page 7 is going to be a bit dramatic because the splitting of the Chaos Realm sort of comes underneath Stella and she's about to fall into it. They're like the tendrils coming out of the ground. Maybe it should be a bit more of a down shot to make it more dramatic. Anyway, that is supposed to be a dramatic panel. Oh, hopefully I can pull that one off during the rough pass. And then the next one is of Harper, who is going to save her. So she's running towards her with her hand stretched out. That's going to be like quite extreme in the perspective. It's not looking very good right now, but hopefully I can do it properly when I draw it properly. She is basically like Stella. And in this panel here, I need, because when she grabs Stella, her other arm is she needs to have something to grab onto, and I think this is a good chance for her to like use her sword to like stab it onto the side of the ground to hold her up. So I basically need a sword to appear. Oh my gosh, I can't draw. Okay, maybe I should put it like this. It's a bit more in perspective. Perspective drawings are very hard. But that is basically a panel of her summoning her sword. These are awful drawings, but no, that is page 7. And page 8, it's going to be a nice big panel of profile, probably, of Harper grabbing Stella's hand to save her. So something like this. Probably close-ups of both of them. First of Stella. That's her arm, like, being outstretched above her. And then of Harper. Telling her to hang on. Yep, so that is page 8. Page 9. Another big dramatic panel of Stella being held up by Harper while she's dangling over the entrance of the Chaos Realm. I think this shot deserves a nice big panel. Sorry, that is Harper. And that is the Chaos Realm. It's supposed to be like super dramatic, this bit, so I really hope that I will be able to do it justice at the end. It's looking pretty awful right now. Maybe I'll make... Yeah, the Chaos Realm, I think I just make it into a big dark pit with like a bit of tendrils coming out. That is another future Maruna's problem. In this big panel, like, Harper is going to be talking, being like, the monsters clashing against each other, they're opening up the Chaos Realm. We need to close it down before any monsters come out of it. This is exposition dump right here. Just because the wolf being really aggressive right now is coming from Stella being really stressed out, so Harper is also trying to tell her that you have to try and calm down, which is probably not the most effective way for asking a person going through a panic attack right now to calm down, but I guess she's getting dangled over like an abyss at the moment, so she's in a situation to listen. Yeah, basically a big dialogue sequence there as well. And then on the next one, I want to add Stella's reaction. So maybe Stella is first looking up at Harper. So she's listening to Harper, but she's also just like, please Harper, like, this is just really hard. So she's looking at her, but then she looks away from her. And a shot of Harper. Maybe here Stella says sorry. And Harper is like, what? That is page 9. Page 10. I want to sort of just like indicate what's happening in the back at the moment with the monsters and Lucas. So in the foreground, it's almost like a bit of a perspective from the hole. So, we see Harper reaching out down into the abyss, holding up Stella. Oh, it'd be nice if we can see Stella here as well, so I might make that. So that is Harper and Stella, who is at the hole. I don't want to make it into too much of an upshot though, because I want to sort of make a shot where in the foreground we see Harper and Stella, but in the background we see the monsters fighting. And I need to make it that Poppy is obviously losing, so maybe she's like sort of like getting tipped over and the wolf is sort of on top of her. Sorry, this is so messy, but yeah, if you can get the general idea. And while that is happening, this is going to be like a lot of dialogue is happening. The dialogue is mainly from Stella telling Harper that, I'm sorry, I lashed out at you earlier. I don't know how to control this. I really don't want to feel like this anymore. So she's once again pleading to Harper to like get rid of that monster. Even though she can tell that Harper is trying to like save her by not killing the monster, Stella is asking to do it. Yeah, I would like to add at least one expression from Stella, who's just looking ashamed of herself probably, and then another one of Harper, who is going to just give one more go at convincing her. That is page 10. And page 11 is an important page. So it is Harper trying to convince Stella. She's basically revealing that her monster is killed. It's gone missing per se, but like it's like a permanent thing now. I need to figure out the dialogue a bit like quite properly here because it's a very important dialogue scene. In this panel, back here, I used to have one too. This panel here, I want to sort of make it into more of a visually metaphoric image rather than like a literal image of what's happening right now. And it's basically Harper, for her, what it's been like for her since she's lost her emotions. So maybe it's of her either reaching out or holding her hand out to something, but it's sort of like disappeared. I don't know, implying that she had the monster once, but it's gone now. And then she's also saying in the dialogue, for her, she can't really listen to music or even taste food, as in she can taste them, but it doesn't mean anything to her anymore. And so because Stella, in this previous page, she was looking away from Harper, but now she looks up at her. I don't know, is it a bit too corny? I was thinking that maybe tears can actually be coming out from Harper's eyes and sort of like it like drips onto Stella here. She's also gonna say even tears doesn't mean anything to her. So I'm gonna do this shot is a on axis shot on Harper's face, who is crying, but she's smiling. And she's basically asking her, are you sure you want this to happen to you as well? Yep, so that is page 10. Okay, so page 11, even though Harper just like, you know, spilled her like deepest thoughts to Stella, Stella still says she wants to get rid of it. It's a bit of a cop-out because like she changes her mind very last minute, but it's the, you know, it's almost like, I thought Harper was going to get through to her. Oh, she doesn't. How sad. We've had a few of these panels already, but it's basically the same one as before, but so it's basically a panel of Stella nodding, saying, yeah, she wants it gone. But she is looking quite conflicted. And so Stella nods, and Harper, who is like, okay, there's nothing more she can do to convince her. Close up on her eyes, maybe. Looking sad. Says, okay. So in the next shot, I need a wide shot of Harper. She pulls Stella out of the hole. And she is back onto the ledge. And then the abyss is still right there. But the wolf is now standing by itself, implying that it defeated Poppy. Off screen. Off screen. So it's stepping forward. But I need to make it that like so Poppy though did do a very good job and has injured the wolf enough. I mean, sorry, Poppy and Lucas they worked really hard while everything was happening off screen. And the wolf is now a fair bit injured, which I need to somehow show through this drawing. I am actually not too sure how to do that. I'll figure it out more properly, but yeah, I need to visually show that. And the next shot will be of Harper standing up in front of Stella, who is just still kneeling next to the hole that she just got pulled out from. And Harper has the sword in her hand now. That is page 12. Page 13, I just want a couple of panels of, just to show us what happened to Poppy and Lucas. Poppy, it like shrunk back to the normal size and it's just on the ground with its legs up in the air. Like, it's not dead, but it's just unconscious. Maybe like a bit of like the tendrils are, because it was attacked by the monster and it got a few bite marks into it, so it's probably it's just really, it did its best. Good on her. And Lucas is also, he's probably just leaning against one of the cars and he's unconscious as well. That's just to show, you know, the wolf monster won against those two, so she's like sorry as she looks at them. She could even say, sorry Lucas, Poppy, it's my fault or something. But then we will have a nice hero shot from her pointing her sword at the monster. Which hand? Oh, okay. This is supposed to be a super dramatic perspective. And she's basically saying, I'll finish this. And Stella is still behind her. On the ground. I mean, kneeling on the ground. Maybe we can't see her eyes from her face, from her hair. That is page 13. And on page 14, okay, I think it would actually be nice to have just a dialogue from Harper being like, it's a lot weaker now, because if you recall earlier in the story when Harper did fight against this monster, it just kept on regenerating, so she actually couldn't beat it. But like, the monster is a lot weaker now because it fought against Poppy and Lucas, so, and because like I think Stella has just reached her like emotional capacity at the moment, so the monster is, it's like stronger than what it was before, but it's also more fragile than what it was before, so it's like she can, so basically Harper tells herself that she can beat it now. So maybe that's the tip of her sword pointing at the monster, who is just, it's like, it's sort of like its head is close to the ground because it's like struggling to like stay up straight because it's so tired and damaged. And I need a panel of Harper thinking that. She's holding her sword, about to slice it, about to kill it. Yeah, but basically thought bubble here, saying it's weak now. And then in this next panel, it's going to be Stella, who dashes past. I wonder, I'm either thinking it's basically in this panel, it's going to be of Stella dashing past Harper to the monster. I am either thinking of it in a profile shot, So this is Harper holding the sword and Stella just running past her. So I either wanted something like that. It's like doing it in a profile, it almost makes it a lot more just easier to see. Or we can do it like in a more of a on axis shot, which is a bit more harder. It's a lot more harder to see, but like Stella dashing towards camera, leaving Harper behind. I actually do like this one better, but that's going to be really hard to draw. I'll leave that one in for now. But yeah, no, if the profile shot works better, I might swap that out like later. And the next two panels are just them. Just a close-up on Harper being like, "What? Stella, what are you doing?" And another close-up of Stella just running, looking desperate. And that is page 14. Okay, so page 15, it's the climax panels and it's of Stella hugging the monster. So this first one is probably just monster is sort of on the, because its head was quite close to the ground because it was weak. Stella, she sort of comes and like tackles or like hugs its like snout. And a close-up of Stella's face, which is like also quite close to the wolf's eyes. We can see it at the same time. And Stella is basically shouting, "I'm sorry." And then just a nice, much more bigger shot of the wolf and Stella just like hugging it with a lot of dialogue from Stella. Stella saying sorry. Basically, she had repressed her stressful feelings of how awful her job was that she was sort of getting like bullied at and getting exploited at. And that was what manifested this monster. So she's basically telling to the monster, "Sorry, that job wasn't worth it. I should have quit ages ago." And she essentially tells the monster that it's her emotions are more important to her than her job. Yeah, that is page 15. Page 16. One more close-up on Stella, who is just asking her monster to like forgive her. Then a hand comes in from the side. This is Stella's shoulder, and that's Harper's hand, which pats her on the shoulder, her back. And when Stella looks up, Harper is there, smiling and pointing at the monster. Because in the next shot, it is just a wolf napping in Stella's lap. What happened was because Stella acknowledged her like stress and also figured out that it was her job, not her, and she was able to like, you know, accept that, the monster was able to calm down, I guess, because it felt accepted. It was no longer being ignored and repressed. It has become the monster that she can be friends with now. So that will be page 16. Okay, page 17. This is going to be a couple of panels of Harper explaining to her that it's going to be okay now. Stella just being like, what happened? And she's just looking at the wolf, who is like, you know, sort of cute now and sleeping in her lap. So that's like her lap. It's like a big dog. And I want to do a wide shot of, so in the background, Stella and the wolf is on the ground and Harper is just walking up to Poppy, who's on the ground in the foreground, and picks her up. Picks her up while she's explaining to what these creatures are. Once you've confronted them and basically befriended them, they can be like really loyal friends. This panel is of Harper holding Poppy. So I want her to say that line of like, they can be good friends while she's holding Poppy, implying that she's like, you know, even though it's like, it's Lucas's monster, she's still like friends with her as well. It's a bit like melancholic almost, just because like Harper doesn't have her like monster anymore, and she puts Lucas is like still unconscious, but she puts Poppy in his arms. Sorry, that is page 17. Okay, page 18. It's technically the last page. Yay! Puts like Poppy in Lucas's lap. She turns around to Stella because she has a monster that she can fight with now that she wants her to join the Ord Foundation. So maybe she reaches her hand out to shake her hand. And then for now, I'm just going to end with an image of the building scape. Usually a nice shot of the sky, I find that like implies like it's a bit of a happy ending. You know, I think that is the last page for the story, but I'm not too sure if I want to do like an epilogue page, just because this story is really long now, but I feel like things are left a bit unexplained, so I don't know. I might just like do one quickly, but I'll think about it if it's actually going to stay in. So basically the epilogue is just going to be all from Stella's monologues, and Stella is just going to say things like, since then I quit my job. I had to move out from my apartment because now that I have a wolf living with me, that studio apartment's too small. Luckily, I was able to find a job with Ord, with Harper and Lucas, and they provide living arrangements. So she's basically like saying all of that. So I might start off with a nice long panel of like Stella standing in her new apartment, so with moving boxes to imply that she moved, and her wolf is next to her. Oh yeah, so she named her wolf. She's going to call it Spike. It's like, I don't know, it's the name of the dog that my daycare mum had when I was little, and I was just like, ooh, that'll be a nice name for her dog as well. Her wolf, I mean. So yeah, so that's like an image of her like standing in her new apartment, which has to look significantly bit bigger than her last one, so I'll draw that when I do it properly. I want to add an image of Spike looking really cute, but it's a wolf. So here she is basically, sorry, there's going to be dialogue boxes everywhere of her explaining what happened to her. In this panel, she's saying that it's like, I named him or her Spike, but I also want to add like a panel of here of of Stella being like, but sometimes when I get stressed, it gets really scary. So Spike essentially, it goes a bit feral sometimes if like Stella starts to get stressed again. So in that case, the black tendril things come back out. So it's like, that's basically, it's just like, it motivates her to like, she has to stay on top of her like stresses and things and not just like ignore it all the time like she used to. But yeah, that's the panel of her saying that Spike's really cute, but can get really scary sometimes. A panel of, maybe I'll try and fit it in 2 panels here. I have no idea what the Ord Foundation looks like. They do have like some kind of office space and like training areas and stuff because like they essentially have to fight monsters. So I just need some kind of image of some space that implies that this is her new like workplace. And she's talking to Harper. So on this panel, she's basically saying that I've got a new job now. And maybe also add here that Harper is busy all the time, but I still get to see her every now and then. Yeah, and I think I'll just want to end with Stella. Maybe I'm just talking to Harper, maybe. Saying that she's feeling a lot better now. As in she's just a lot happier. Yeah, and that is the end. And okay, so that is page 19, and that would be it for the storyboard section. Yay!
Okay, so that is it for the storyboarding section of my manga, the first pass done. Okay, I say first pass because I still need to go back and edit, fix a lot of it, but I'm really happy that I was able to get it out once. For my next video, I'm going to do a big edit pass on all of my pages, just so I can stay on top of the continuity and also go back and fix a lot of the story that I changed my mind on while I was working on it. I also need to try and make the whole entire thing a bit shorter, maybe fit in more panels in single pages, because at the moment this story is really long. I think it's over 100 pages at least. But I hope you enjoyed this finale section of my story with Harper and Stella. But please like and subscribe and leave a comment on what you thought about this ending or about the storyboard process in general, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!